when we last spoke, we spoke of the trouble that L&T was facing in the hydrocarbon business. We spoke of the challenges in power, in shipbuilding. So what I'm going to do in my next question is try and get very quick updates from you in each one of these sectors, the progress that you're seeing. Let's start with hydrocarbons.
The first thing we have to do from a major old losing orders, and therefore which accumulated huge amount of losses over the 3 to 4 years. I would say not 4 years, 3 years, has now come down to a point of this year onwards becoming zero, which means next year we will have no losses.
FY17 you will have no losses.
16-17.
16-17.
We will have no loss.
Yeah.
Or may have slight profit.
Okay.
And from this year, it has come down from 1100 to maybe 300.
Okay.
So to that extent, situation I would say is improved.
Power, whether it's generation, transmission, distribution. In all three spaces we have issues currently in the country. Power has been a big bugbear for L&T as well. Do you see any improvements on the ground in any one of these spaces? And if you do, how will it translate into more orders or better profitability at L&T?
Well, let me take transmission, because I mentioned that first.
Correct.
That there is a spend taking place there. We have grown at the rate of 20% in transmission line, not 15. I mean, 15 is overall company estimate.
Correct.
And that momentum is continuing.
So this is installation of new transmission lines for grid connectivity, is it?
Correct.
Okay.
And that spend is, as I mentioned, taking place at a fairly brisk pace.
Okay.
So I don't see any problem about either drop in margin, or for that matter, the rate of growth slowing down, at least for this year and next year. As far as the generation is concerned, the number of orders on the horizon are very few compared to before.
But even though we've seen considerable progress in coal allocation, the cleaning up of all of that, the auctioning of coal mines, the hope that, therefore this will help revive those power projects that have stalled.
This will only help power plants which are half done. 3/4 done.
So are you seeing progress at least in those projects which may have stalled?
As I mentioned to you a little while ago, that the auction of the coal which had taken place, if you put your own people, how far that money is paid by the companies who had been given the mines on auction and how many of them have opened it, I think one can do much better progress. So to the extent we had seen that once the coal allocation issue is resolved, a lot of projects will take off. I think is moving, but at a slower pace than what it ought to have been.
What about shipbuilding, sir?
Shipbuilding is a nightmare. And what decision we have taken about a month ago?
On Kattupalli?
Kattupalli, that we will not do any more commercial ships. So
you are in a joint venture now with Adani? Is that how it works?
No. Adani is only... We are talking about the port, not shipbuilding.
Okay.
They have nothing to do with shipbuilding. Okay. We have a port there as well as we have a shipbuilding.
Correct.
If he is talking about anything, his specialty is port and our specialty is not. And we lose money on the port. Right? So we want to cut out all the assets which are not necessarily our specialty to run, operate, and where it is our core business.
So you signed the deal with Adani?
Not yet. I mean, it's all under discussion.
Okay.
But hopefully in some time to come. So don't mix up that with the shipbuilding. Shipbuilding, what we have done, our all losses were in commercial ships because no defense ships orders have come.
Right.
Although there is a lot of talk about defense privatization, and it is intended and will happen, I'm very confident because I meet lots of people, and by and large everyone talks in the same tone that we need to take the whole of Indian industry in the defense sector to make India strong. There is no doubt about that.
Correct.
But having said that, there is a huge time lag. And we tried to use that for the commercial shipbuilding. We find that we have lost more money in commercial shipbuilding than we would have kept that part of commercial shipbuilding for the time being suspended. Suspended. And that's what we have done.
So financially, you expect to halve the losses on shipbuilding this year? This fiscal?
1 month back we decided, so obviously the full impact will be next year.
You sounded, sort of positive about defense the last time we spoke. You've said even now the noises are all positive, the direction is looking good. But progress on ground, How is your defense business going? Because there are all kinds of numbers anticipating how big that business can be, and I understand 6 months is not enough time to gauge progress in, but nonetheless, what's the update on defense projects?
You see, when nothing much happens for all these years, the India has gone backward in its defense capability for more than a decade.
Right.
In relation to the neighboring countries. And we could have been much stronger than what we have been, trying to depend on sick public sector unit who has not delivered in the past. Taking the entire strength of a private sector, wherever, in whichever sector they are good at, I think is a step in the right direction. And I see movement in that.
Your orders in defense? I'm told you just bagged an order in self-propelling guns, a big one, 5,000 crores.
I would say that way, yeah, well, 5,000 crore in joint working with a Korean company, but it is something which is to be delivered over 8-10 years.
8-10 years?
Yeah, so you can say it will add 500 crore a year.
Okay.
From 2 years from now.
Got it.
Because you have to design it, you have to do all the approvals, all that will take away a year.
In this fiscal, what is the incremental defense order book looking like? Have many orders come your way?
40% more.
40% more?
But
that's outstanding, given that your order book guidance is 15%.
If it was 800-900 crore, it is 1,200 crores.
It's still small in the larger scheme of things.
Right.
The other area that seemed very promising was the railways.
Well, the freight corridors, eastern and western, which has been under implementation for a long time, right, has still 20,000 crore order to be placed. Still.
Okay.
And they will be placed this year and some of it early next year. That will happen. And that's happening. And of course, we'll get some orders out of that. L&T'S, therefore, this year order target on railways is going to be fulfilled arising out of the past projects continuing where a lot of sections of the projects have not been ordered. New project, however, surfacing on railways from a new spend is something which is still, I think, at the planning stage and will come up for visibility in 6 to 8 months' time.
In the group structure sort of reform, if I may call it that, you said in March that you wanted to put a little bit more thought into this with your board and that you would tell me in October what your plan was. It's October now. So
I've done already.
Yeah, so what is the plan now for group structure?
Well, we have appointed now Deputy MD, new one, 54-year-old. Obviously, he will have a very long inning in Larsen & Toubro.
Mr. Subramaian.
Right. And he's a Deputy MD and President, was running the infrastructure group, which was almost 45% of the company.
Business,
And the rest of the company he doesn't know very well. So I'm orienting him now. He just came back from America after being 4 to 5 months, more on IT and technology service so that he gets conversant with that. That portfolio is with him from the L&T'S shareholder perspective, and that is something which I was directly looking after, being the founder of that business, which slowly I'm passing on to him, and over a year it would have perhaps gone in his hands. Now I have put him in charge of shipbuilding, which is a very, very difficult task, right? But I have to give him difficult tasks to see that he has a hang of things to come in future.
So this is your succession plan. Mr. Subramaian is your successor. I've understood that correctly? He's currently Deputy Managing Director.
You can take the conclusion that way. The same thing, I will say this, that he has a great potential to be one. But whether he is a successor, time will tell.
In quality, yes, but in designation, given that he's currently Deputy Managing Director, which is the first step to managing, the first and only step to managing
director. He has
the
first chance. But finally, it is not my decision alone. It's a board decision, right? So we have another 2 years to go, right? And suppose somebody comes out of the sky and said he is better than even the existing chairman. Who knows? There are all kinds of possibilities. But at least we have put public and to the shareholders at somewhat of a piece to say it is not as if
there is no successor.
As if there is going to be vacuum.
The next chairman after you will also be an executive chairman? Will it be a non-executive chairman?
Entirely up to
Will you stay on as chief mentor in some fashion or the other?
Entirely up to the board, and so far as I am concerned, I think it is time that I now take rest. But that apart, let me tell you that it's a nomination committee and board which will decide the issue regarding executive chairman or non-executive chairman, but CEO and MD will definitely be there.
Mr. Naik, I say this with great admiration for the amount of energy and life you have dedicated to this role. Do you really think you'll ever be able to give L&T up?
It's not giving up. It's not giving up. It will always remain in my heart.
If you cease to keep any position in the group, it is in a sense giving up all responsibility, right? So I'm asking you, if once you retire as executive chairman in 2017, are you likely to consider holding on to any other post?
As of now, no. I think that some point in time, we must detach ourselves from what you have been attached for too long and allow the younger generation to take the company to greater heights.
Mr. Naik, you've answered all questions very candidly. Thank you very much.
Thank you.